Hi guys, my name is Sarah Manning and I am a medium and intuitive as well as an intuitive and mediumship coach. I am super excited to be able to chat today with one of my past clients. We have had quite the journey together and I'm honored to introduce her to you. And this is Greta from Oklahoma. Hi Greta.
Hi guys.
Thank you so much for joining today. I always appreciate it. We have had, I don't even remember, how long have we been working together? I don't even know.
Do you know I got asked that question yesterday and I don't know. I think it's been since around like 2016 or 2017 is
Oh,
when I first started watching you like a creeper. I think I had my first reading from you. I want to say it was either 2017 or 2018.
wow.
And I
And then
think
it's
that's
just
when I
like,
first started. And then it's just been nonstop from there.
good thing we like each other, hey?
Right?
I love that. I love that. So you took my Embrace Your Intuition course. Then you and I got to work one-on-one together with the program that I called Women's Empowerment Coaching, but it's actually I changed the name to my Intuition Coaching. And then you
Yeah,
decided to launch even further and do the mediumship coaching together.
I did.
How was that? Was there any like fear or hesitation to being like, I'm a medium and I do connect?
So much fear. So much fear. And like looking back at it, the fear was like, is this real? Can I do it? Am I really connecting? Like there were so many aspects of it that um it was kind of crazy, but I still felt like the need that I needed to do it.
I love that. I love that. How did you move past the fear? Like, how did you go, okay, I don't care that I'm afraid. I don't care that like I'm not sure. I'm just going to do this anyways. How was that for you?
I think, well, it was something that you said, but then I heard it like in other areas, like um just like throughout like my day to day was um if you're drawn to something, it's for a reason. If you're drawn to it, that means that like, and it scares you, that's probably something that you should face, right? And something that you should do. And so I just kept hearing that and it was like I had to fight with myself like internally, like,
Right.
Greta, get a hold of yourself. You can do this.
I love that. I love that. So like, was that like one of your biggest concerns before you started the coaching program? Like, or was it the investment, the time commitment, or was it like, I'm crazy? What was the
So I
biggest
have a
thing?
funny thought on this one.
I
So
love it.
I always said verbally, like, gosh, that's a lot of money. I don't know if I have the time. Like, I'm super busy. I'm a single mom of two kids, like working and life is crazy. But like I found once I actually like sat down and like meditated on it and journaled about it, the main fear I use those as like my smoke screen. Oh, it's too much of an investment, right? But we all know that if we want something so bad, we make it happen, right? Doesn't matter
Right.
what it is in life. We always, where there's a will, there's a way, right? And so, when I meditated on it, it was literally the fear of failure, which has
Oh,
been an issue for the better part of my life, which stems from a whole lot of different things, right? And some of those I didn't even learn until after I took the mediumship course. So,
right.
I mean, I had a whole lot of external like hesitation, right? But it all came down to the fear of like, I don't know if I can do this. Am I really connecting? Like, it was all fear based.
Yeah, I can totally get that. I love that you say that because even when I started my own mediumship journey, I literally had the same thing. Like, I remember telling Colin, my husband, like, what if I was trained how to be a con artist without knowing I was being trained to be a con artist? Because maybe my
Right?
teacher was trained to be a con artist without knowing that she was being trained to be a con artist. Like, what if I am just crazy? And
Yeah.
like he would be like, Okay, fair question. But how did you come up with this specific thing? Like that's that like how did you like even when I just did a reading
Yeah.
yesterday and the mom was on the other side was talking about these two red hearts and my client was like, "Oh my God, like how did you know that?" Um and I'm like, "Because I talked to the dad."
I know.
Right? And her dad kept talking about like wiping his hands and being like crazy, always wiping his hands. And she started laughing and was like, my dad hated anything on his hands, like hated anything on his hands. So it's like stuff like that, which you get, and you're like, a con artist
Yeah.
wouldn't know that.
How did I know that? I know. I know. And I think through the course and like, the last part of the course where you're giving readings, I think is where it came through so much for me and so much validation, and it kind of dispelled a lot of that fear because there's no way I can come up with this stuff on my own. Like there's
Right?
no way. Like you
Yeah.
can't fake that. And so that, with the help of Sarah's coaxing of like, now Greta, made a world of difference.
Thank you. So when you were like, was there a time where there was like that biggest aha moment for you, or was it when you were actually starting to give readings? Was that your biggest, or like when did things like
So
actually click for you when you're like, okay, I do talk to the dead?
my biggest aha moment wasn't, I mean, I had a lot of them, but my biggest aha moment that completely caught me off guard was that the realization that I had been connecting all along, like the little blips, the images, the feelings, the stuff that I would say that would make no sense to me just out of the blue, like if somebody called me, the conversations where like literally it would just like roll off the tongue and they're like, oh, my grandmother used to say something similar. Or the aha moment was realizing that all of that was me connecting. I just
Right?
didn't know it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That is so true. Like, how many times does that happen where we're like, that is so out of character for me to say. That's so odd, but we just dismiss it. Or someone's
Yeah.
like, oh, I can't believe you said that because this is what it reminded me of. And we're just like,
Yeah.
oh, cool. And stuff. One of the things my teacher told me too was like, how many of you think you're like really, really great at giving advice? And we're like, all put our hands up. She's like, hate to tell you, it's not
No.
you, it's spirit. And we're like,
I know.
what? Don't
I
remind
know.
me of that. Then it becomes,
You told me that one in, I think it was 30 Days to Spirit. And it was when I was like the first class that I took of yours. And I was talking to my sister about it, and she's like, "Oh, that is so true." Because she's like, in a normal conversation, you're fumbling on your words, you're saying things wrong, and she's like, and then there's moments where it is like dead on, and I was like, "I know, you're welcome. I'm just a vessel."
right? And then it becomes exciting because you can turn it around and be like, okay, well, that's sad. It's not all me, but oh my God, what a privilege to be able to pass on not
Yeah,
only validation that loved ones are really there, but that guides are supporting and guiding us. And we just have to be willing to listen and hear and do something
yeah,
out of the norm, right? It's like, I love that.
yeah.
I love that. What did you appreciate most about working together?
What did I appreciate most? There's so many things. I have a hard time with self-doubt, and I think one of the biggest things that I appreciated most about working with you is the patience that you showed and the kindness that you had in your responses of like, well, we're working at your pace. This is where we're at. And I think the patience and the kindness like really made a huge learning experience difference for me. That was just phenomenal. And I think
Aw.
that you don't get that all the time with those that you're learning from. Most of the time they're working on their schedule and where they think you should be. And I think that was one of the biggest like blessings for me learning, because there are some things like when I'm learning, that I get stuck on, and I'm just like, I do not comprehend this, guys. Like, can we take it back a minute, because I'm still not grasping it. So I think that was like my best, like that was the best part, where I
Oh,
didn't feel like I had to be anything other than who I was and where I was in that moment.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. I love it too, and I hope it's okay to say this, Greta. But what I loved working with you so much was like how expressive your guides were. And how, like, so I love that Greta was
It's
like,
where I get it from.
I love the fact that like even times, you were like in your mind, you're like, I'm not quite getting this. But even before Greta and I would jump into the lesson, I would be like, I feel like there's like a little hitch here. Like your guides are like, we need to revisit this. Like, right? Like when I tell
Yep.
people that it is 100% personalized for you because I'm working with your guides, that's not just me, blowing smoke. It like there's no cookie cutter, right? And so I
Right.
love working with your guides so much. They were awesome. So in the end, with the mediumship program and stuff, you talked about it was hard to wrap your brain around the investment, not just the money, but the time and the energy. But do you feel it was worth it in the end? And how has it changed your life?
Oh my gosh. Um, yes, it's worth it. It's always worth it. The hard things are always worth it, because you find yourself pushing past boundaries that you didn't even know were there. The self-limiting beliefs that I didn't even know were there. The duality of like having to separate things that I didn't even know was there. Like, I am a whole person. I can be both. I can work my job. I can be a mom and a medium all in one breath. Like, it doesn't have to be separate. So yeah, it was absolutely worth it. And I think the biggest thing that I gained from it was not only the acknowledgement of growing the mediumship muscle, right? And working with that, and kind of, just growing in my intuition completely. But it was the fact that I learned that I didn't have to separate everything.
Love that. I love that. And I'm gonna throw this in there too, because something that I love seeing for you on your growth and your belief in yourself and trusting spirit as well was that you have an amazing job now and you
I
have more
do.
time for yourself. And that was a journey to get to believe that you could
Sure
actually go out of
was.
your comfort zone. Can I ask you, do you mind elaborating a little bit on that?
I think there was a really big time period for me where I was just stuck in this. I'm stuck. I can't move forward. I can't do this. And I was stuck on the word can't. And I think through my entire journey with you that I've had thus far, one of the biggest moments was when we sat down. You made me write out what my dream moment would look like, right? The
Yeah.
day to day. And how just changing your mindset with that. I think it was like 3.5 months. Like, it all changed. So drastically. And that was huge for me, because I was so just kind of stuck in the muck. That's what me and my sister call it. But it's just, I was on this like revolving, just, it was awful. And like, it got me out of it. And it really taught me to like trust, not just in myself, but trust that like everything is working for me and with
Right.
me, and it's not all up to me. I just have to like trust in my spirit team. I have to trust and believe in my faith, and I have to trust that um that anything is possible. Um but
I love
it's
that.
just, it's been a huge, I think, I can't even say night and day, like night maybe 20 years ago and day 30 years forward. Difference in just how I operate on the day to day from when I started
I love it.
to the end of the mediumship course.
I love it. I love it. Awesome. So if you knew that somebody was considering taking the mediumship coaching program with me, and thinking
Yeah,
about it, stuff, what would you say to them if they were considering to do that?
do it. What do you have to literally what do you have to lose? You know, and if it's the money aspect, okay, how many times have you bought something stupid off of Amazon that you don't like? How much money does that look like in a monthly basis? Like there's so many options. If it's a fear, if your hesitation is fear, like mine was, um, the only thing you have to lose is that fear. Um, I, if you're being called to it, it's for a reason. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go and you're going to be a medium, and that's what you're going to do as your job. It could just mean that you're going to be a medium or help people on their journey randomly. It doesn't mean that that's what your job's going to be, and that,
Right.
you know, all in it just means that that's part of your journey and you require those skills to help in the way that you need to help. So I
Beautiful.
I'm a kind of like, if I feel called to do something, it's like, well, guess we're doing this. I don't know what we're doing. Don't know what this is, but you know, so that's the kind of attitude that I take. Like, yep, scared out of my mind, but here we go, right? So, but that's just kind of who I've been. But I say if you feel called or drawn to it and you keep going back to the thought of it, then it's something that you should probably really dive into.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. And I know you've touched a bit on it and everything with working with me and everything, and I so appreciate that. But I'm going to ask, like, and your experience with not just what you learned in your journey, but how is it working directly with me?
Oh my gosh, so fun. I mean, literally, it's like working with like your best friend. Just because I think that you weren't ever scared to say, "Oh, no, you need to let's reword that." Right? Like let's think about rewording that. You weren't scared to say, "No, no, hold on." And like circle back to something so that like I understood, or so that we could rework how I was saying things, or just, I mean, I think that obviously you were put in my path for a reason, and we obviously get along really well, really
Yes.
well. And I just think that working with you was really just a beyond a blessing, because we are so similar in so many ways, and you are such a um you're like the epitome of a human being, right? Like you feel all the feels, and you really have so much compassion for where people are,
Thank you.
even if it doesn't make any sense, like me saying all the things that I said in the beginning. But you were very, very patient with me, and we're just like, nope.
Love that. You. That's so awesome. It's good. You know, it's always it's nice to know when myself as a coach and how I am, but also it's always nice to share that with other people who are looking and considering, because
Yeah.
coaching is such a personal, vulnerable thing, and that you want to make sure that you're going to be with somebody that will push you out of your comfort zones, but will be patient and kind and understanding with them and not judgmental, right? So
Yep.
it's always good to know that I helped you on that journey. So
You
any
did.
last thing that you want to add or anything like that, or
Be like Nike, just do it. Stop hem hauling around and just do it.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Greta, for not just hanging out with me for the morning, but being willing to share your experience, not only working with
Yeah.
me for the intuitive coaching and 30 Days to Spirit, but the mediumship program, because it's been such an honor to watch you grow and embrace and and all
Thank
of that.
you.
So thank you so much. So if you're looking for more information on how to join me on the mediumship coaching program to embrace your own mediumship gifts, follow the link, book your free discovery call with me, and I cannot wait to help guide you into being able to give life-changing, grief healing, validating messages from loved ones on the other side.